some of the other courts in Texas that I practice in front of are asking what we're doing in Harris County. Like they're specifically asking what we're doing in Harris County. And so, for instance, one of the things that Harris County has done, or most of the judges in Harris County has said, like, because in a civil lawsuit, there's certain things that have to be done before you go to trial. A lot of people think that watch TV, you just show up to court and then you argue your case, but there's depositions and hearings and things of that nature. And so one of the things the judges in Harris County have done is they have said, if you want to take a deposition, which is just questioning witnesses under oath, where we're normally all together, you can do that by Zoom, and it's not an excuse for a lawyer not to show up because he's on Zoom instead of in person. And that's really important because, you got to keep the process moving forward.
You got to keep it moving. I mean, and we went, and when I say we, I use a royal we because my team is way better than I am, but we've gone as far, the 127, to anytime, and I'll explain this a little bit more. When someone seeks to find information, that's called discovery. And a lot of times in order to stop that, the other side will file what they call a motion to quash, which means we don't want this discovery to go forward. At the beginning of April, we instituted a rule that any motion to quash is automatically set for hearing within 96 hours.
Yeah.
We did that because we want people working, because what we don't want happening is when we're ready to try cases, people will say, well, we still have all this outstanding discovery because we couldn't get a hearing, or we couldn't get this done, we couldn't get that done. And we want to make sure everyone is primed to go to trial, because, we all know, both plaintiffs' lawyers and defense lawyers know, the one thing that gets cases to settle are real trial dates.
Yeah.
And 98.9% of all cases settle.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have an image in their mind of the legal system of either being what they see on TV in terms of like criminal cases or big civil lawsuits and things of that nature. But the reality is you and your fellow judges handle a lot of what is basically kind of routine legal work. But without that legal work, the economic machinery just grinds to a halt. So can you tell us from your view why it's so important? Set aside the big criminal cases, set aside the big civil cases. Let's just talk about why on a day-to-day basis it is so important for the economy in Harris County in Texas to keep the wheels of justice moving as best we can.
Because we deal with real people.
Yeah.
And we deal with real dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm running a caseload right now, about 2,200 to 2,500 cases, 60% of which are probably valued under $100,000.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, in the scheme of things, and when you think about lawsuits and you're talking about $100,000, most people are like, oh my God, why would you? I mean, that's a small amount of money.
Yeah.
But $100,000 is a lot of money for me. I'm sure it's a lot of money for you, Brian.
Yeah, for sure.
And the issue is, but these cases involve real Harris County individuals.
Yeah.
Not only that, they're represented by attorneys who make their money by defending or prosecuting these cases. And secondly, in most of those cases, the 60% of those cases are usually involving some sort of insurance.
Yeah.
So it also helps set premiums for Harris County.
Right.
Right. I mean, we really, I tell jurors when they come in, we are the TMZ of Harris County. Right? When you come into jury service, we're the Twitter, we're the Facebook, we're where it's at. If you want the gossip, you get it at the courthouse. You find out who's died, who got married, who got divorced, who bought a piece of property.
I love that.
And so, I mean, we're making a difference incrementally every day for every person in Harris County.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I think, before I knew anything about, before I became a lawyer, saw what judges actually do on a day-to-day basis, I didn't really appreciate how much non-criminal and like big civil case work that judges do. So for instance, like if you have a family law issue, it's not like you can just call timeout for the next 3 months if it's an emergency issue. I mean, you have to get some relief from the court on some of these issues, and you have to get it sooner rather than later. And so without that, like we've been talking about, the whole system just kind of grinds to a halt.